All right, all right, all right. All right. Big shout out to my man, Mr. Dickie Foster in the house. What up, fam? That for real, see you, fam. Y'all got to excuse me, man. Running a little late tonight. Had a little bit of technical difficulties, you know what I'm saying? I didn't give myself enough time to deal with the technical difficulties. My man, your Rock's in the house. What up, fam? My man. To the incomparable Eli Monster, big shout out, fam. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed your trip. Proud daddy right there of the United States Marine. Alright! Alright! Big shout out to my man, Mr. 216 in the house representing what up, fam. My man Dreadlock in the house. What up, fam? The one and only incomparable, my brother from another mother, my man Jermaine Hunter in the house. What up, fam? Big shout out to long-time support, my main man, Mr. Courtney Edwards in the house. What up, fam? Shout out to my man. Welcome to the show, my man, Mr. Tony Snow, hanging out in the Shark Tank. Welcome to the show, fam. Muscles up to you, bruh. Look, you notice you don't see a whole lot of that blue in here. That blue represents members of the Shark Tank. Don't take much to get that blue, Tony. All you got to do is show up. You done did that already. Second thing is participate in the chat. I like to see how the newcomers can swim amongst the people in the Shark Tank. It's called the Shark Tank for a reason, because they are vicious. You know what I'm saying? All you got to do is share your love.
The tank can accommodate 4 swimmers at a time, and no prior training or
Shut up.
experience is required.
Alexa, wasn't talking to you. But, you know, in order to swim in, you know, she did, where did that come from? No, Alexa, stop it. In order to, you know, hang out in the Shark Tank, man, all you got to do, man, is participate. I like to see how people share their knowledge, and then, you know, you got to jump in there, you know, got an opinion, because this is a very open, opinionated Shark Tank, you know what I mean? You know, they speak what they want to speak. That's why they all got that blue. You know, they take advantage of it, because, again, all we ask you to do is be respectable of your people in the Shark Tank. You know what I'm saying? Because you know how sharks, they like to swim individually, but they can swim together. You know what I'm saying? I just like to see how you swimming amongst these kind of sharks. The only way you can do that, jump out there, share the knowledge that you want to share, and it's all right to voice your opinion and speak what's on your mind. Welcome to the show, Tony. Big shout out to my man, Mr. William Torres in the house. My man, Mr. Michael Schrader. What's up, fam? Double M Despo in the house. Yo, my man, M1. What up, fam? Representing New Mexico, my man, Frank. What up, fam? My man, representing Arkansas, Louisiana, Combine, the one and only Mayhem Kennels in the house. What up, fam? My man Jonathan Elliott, what up, fam? Spark Brother Kennels representing, what up, fam? Yo, I'm gonna go and get this thing here. Hold on. Y'all don't forget to hit that like button as you come in. Don't forget to hit that like button as you come in. Appreciate everybody hanging out, doing what you do on this Talk Shit Tuesday. I know it's cold in some places. My man Prentice Car in the house. What up, fam? Long time supporter there. Y'all know what's up. Yeah. What up, everybody? What up? What is up? You know, it ain't really been a rough day. This was a rough day when I got into this damn place right here. Damn computer. Mo got his computer. You know, we worked all day today. Nice weather, then all of a sudden it got a little bit chilly and everything. But I appreciate everybody for hanging out, waiting on me. Because, you know, again, I said we scratching. We gonna try and do our best to make it. Mo was supposed to be in the hospital today. You know, thank God he didn't get in there. You know, they supposed to be doing a surgery thing. And they kind of like postponed it for a minute for whatever reason. So that was a good thing. I thought I was going to have to deal with this thing tonight all by myself, you know. But, you know, not that I couldn't do it and everything, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I wasn't prepared to be coming in here dealing with technical difficulties, you know what I'm saying? But, again, got up and running and everything. He showed up, but he came without his computer, so I guess he really wasn't expecting to be here tonight. So, you know, I'm going to hold this fort down until he get back here, but right around the corner and everything. But appreciate everybody again for showing up and definitely supporting the channels. To all my people on the back street, y'all know what time it is. Go ahead and roll them up. You know what I'm saying? Go and get that brewski, set it to the side. Go ahead and kick back. Get ready to ride out with us with this dog thing. You know what I'm saying? Renegade Kennels, I see you, fam. Who else did I miss? Did I miss anybody? I see my man, Mr. Williams, in the house. But, you know, tonight's show, you know, lately, you know, we've been talking about, you know, these match dogs. A lot about the damn match dogs. First, we started out talking about the breeders and the motivations, some of the things, you know, that motivate them to do the things that they did, and kind of give you an insight on the motivation of why they did some of the things they did. Because, you know, first of all, motivation covers a lot of things. So we did cover the, some of the breedings, the way they thinking, what made some different than others. You know, we took the dogs in consideration, considering, you know, in order to have these dogs in the first place, you got to be motivated to do all the things it takes to have the dogs. And then the motivation has to be, you know, built off of first something you want to stand on, which is a tight foundation, and you trying to build up. So for each time stage that you building up and creating that yard that you looking to do, you got to, motivation increases, your knowledge increases, and everything about what you're doing is going to increase. Now, one of the things we all, we was going kind of like going back and forth, and we was noticing was, you know, in our conversations, we was always weighing the dogs and then the papers. You know, here the last couple of shows, I think the last two shows, you know, even though we was looking at the papers, and remember, we back in our time now. So even though you looking at the papers are still associated with the dogs. Which takes us back. We would never be looking at the papers if we wouldn't, the dog wasn't worthy of us looking at. So we always gonna be looking at the performance of the dog, and then go back and look at the papers. Which brings us into conversation somewhat of tonight, because again, we've talked about them traits. Now for us, and I don't speak for everybody. I can only speak for us. We went on a lot of our breeding program, and that's probably why we traveled around and got a chance to see so much, because we believed in what, we was building our yard basically off of what we actually seen. And that's just gonna be straight up with you. We made it a point to go see a lot. So when you see a lot, there's certain things that you're gonna like based off of what you see. And that covered a whole bunch of when you already know what you got, and then you see something else that you want to add to your program. Not something that you heard, not picking up the paper and saying this how the dog bred. Just got to remember, y'all, when you breeding these dogs, you might have 8 in the litter. But you're not guaranteed that all 8 gonna have them same traits. All 8 might not be match dogs. So you got to really have some type of understanding and be willing to sit down and hold what you got until you get those answers, some questions answered. Early in our in doing these shows, putting these videos together, we always try to have that comment about having a relationship with your dogs, even when they was little puppies, and you're bringing them up, to have that bond, the ability to be in there and kind of get a good look at what you want. See, we wasn't into selling dogs. We didn't, we wasn't selling dogs early. Well, not until in the end, but what I'm saying, we didn't sell puppies. You know what I'm saying? At all. And if you got a puppy, or you end up getting one of the ones that, when you couldn't keep everything, or you wasn't trying to keep everything, we was always going to try to find them nice homes. For the ones who didn't make that change spot, yeah. And most of them we didn't sell, we was giving them away. So just getting that understanding of knowing what all the litters, we kind of stayed. But the yard we had, we wasn't forced to get rid of everything right quick. We could sit on it and watch it grow up. But that 16, 17, 18-month-old pup, things start changing. Because you don't work with them all the way up until that time. They done been accustomed to being around the yard in that atmosphere, and they've kind of get into themselves around that, 16, 17, 18 months old, to where, it was time to take a look at them. But got to keep in mind, he's taking what we looking for. Like if we got, like, good one was when we did Bread in the Cock Diesel. I remember we seen it. So it was one of them things where, damn, we got to get some of that on the yard. Or even like Mayday. Remember, Mo went up to breed one way, got a chance to go actually see Mayday, and was like, man, we need to get some of that on the yard. Even though he was a big dog and we didn't have big dogs, but because of what he seen, him and the KP, they was just stuck on, hey, we, got to at least make that happen, Captain. And they made it happen. But there were things that they was actually looking for. Remember, they didn't go back and go be asking how was he bred. You know what I mean? All that came out after you seen what you seen. You seen what you seen, and then you be like, let me see how he bred. Just to get an idea of how it's gonna work with what you got. See, we had Drew was just stuck on killers and back end dogs. Because that's what was really our bloodline had consisted of. And I'm talking about those was the later years when we kind of had a direction of which way we was going. Remember the Eli dogs in the very beginning? They was rough and rugged. Remember, Judo was a head dog. That's why we called him Judo, because you couldn't put your mouth on it. He'd ride ahead, and when he came down off that head, he was pretty much finishing. Blood and BA, they was more or less them head down chest dogs. I mean, damn, you could feed them a leg and they wouldn't take a leg. They was just constantly, but they had that mouth. When you got an aggressive Eli dog with a mouth, and I mean, that's what made Blood and BA dangerous. They was, even Bruiser. Bruiser had the right kind of name. Because you can feed Bruiser a leg and Bruiser wouldn't take a leg. I never seen Bruiser, BA, and maybe Blood, maybe twice. I seen him attack a stifle. But them dogs them dogs are them kind of chest dogs that would root up in your chest, stick you up. They be rooting, and as that body keep falling deeper and deeper in their mouth, you know what I'm saying? And they would just, all the way till they could just close it and just manhandle dogs with it and could shake with it. I mean, real aggressive. And that's why it was hard to be like, we wasn't trying to change that. I mean, what made us get up off of that Eli shit is that yellow shit that we came through there with. They could withstand that mouth. They was, they was game, but they could withstand that mouth. See, where we put it to the test, we put Judo on Blood and BA. And that showed us something. Because remember, Judo was one who didn't want to get bit. And I'm not saying he didn't want to get bit. He was just one of them who was almost like a face dog. It would grab you at the side of your face, man. And as hard as you push, and then that's that Molly B, double bred Molly B shit. So we know he had a mouth. I mean, he could rip the whole side of a dog's face off. He bit that hard. I mean, think this animal ears got down in the gristle of it. And I seen after his second win is when we put him on Blood and BA. And the only reason we was doing that because we wanted to see how how far the Blood and BA would go to try to catch Judo. With that chest power move, working in, trying to work that power. There are dogs, so we get a chance to see. Me and Mo was like that. You know what I mean? Well, hell, they probably not getting up in that chest like that. Can they get up in his chest? Because we was we would put our dogs in every type of situation, and that we couldn't see, we were gonna try to see it. So it was no doubt that we was gonna do it. We just needed to see what would happen if, or what would it take. Being they both good, all three of them good at what they do. But judo was that one that, okay, he could kind of like, we was expecting him to prevent blood from doing what we seen blood doing. You know, blood could go in there, blood and BA and Bruiser, but Bruiser was a little too big to put judo on. But blood and them, they used to get up in that chest, man, and didn't see too many dogs. Well, we didn't see any that could withstand that damage that they done to a front end. And they was good. They was, they was athletic, had much wind, but nothing was really putting them to the test. I mean, they could get up in the chest, man, and what you gonna see out of a good chest dog when one is deep in your chest? I'm talking about that part right there. Not that over here in the shoulder. No, I'm talking about put they whole mouths on your chest. Them Eli dogs, and they was both of them was black too, blood and BA, and they had them kind of wide jaws, and they could actually get deep and really close their mouth. You got about that much, and they breathe, but they got a whole damn chest in their mouth, and they could just work it. Now, fell in love with that. Remember, we didn't have nothing against no chest dog, but then again, we still dealing with a head dog that don't get on and do no chest. Don't do no leg, no nothing. He could walk. Judo could walk a wall. You could press him, and so we seen a good one against judo. But what we realized, the judo and that head riding shit was doing so much damage to them heads. We end up having to pick both blood and BA up off of him. It was that bad. I mean, literally the whole side of their whole faces was just gone, primarily. Then they didn't quit, but the damage they took is what kind of like, okay, one damn thing for sure, it turned it off for chest dogs, because the neutralizer chest dog was a good head dog. I guess judo was, I don't know if he was an exceptional head dog, but for the ones who've seen him, they would tell you about judo, and judo was a very exceptional head dog. You couldn't rush him in no corner. You couldn't press him against no wall. You couldn't get no legs, and he had one hell of a mouth. So, taking traits now. Remember, judo got stolen. Blood and BA, we end up keeping them, but we didn't do nothing else with them because they was really damaged up. I don't even think we bred them. Yeah, you did breed them. Yeah, he bred blood, but not BA. BA, we couldn't even give BA away because BA was a pup. Was a people eater. He bit people. Blood, he wasn't. He didn't have the problems that BA had, and BA was that BA Baracus. Blood, the reason we used to call blood, because every time he put his mouth on something, the dog just loved blood. He was like a vampire. He bit you, and the more it started running out of his mouth, the harder he bit, the harder he pressed. He pressed him up against the thing and just see all that body. He in there, all the mud. He was just a beautiful black dog. But we learned, remember that was early in this, but we start seeing the neutralizing points of the things it took that we thought was okay, and then you start seeing, okay, this here can be neutralized. So I think after we seen the Amber situation, and remember Amber was that red boy yellow shit. I think she was Yellow John. Game couldn't tell her she wasn't winning. Game is hell. That brought a whole new aspect of going after the gamers. Remember, you went from killers to now, okay, that game part. Now, Blood and BA and Bruiser, gameness was tested. Yeah, and neither one of them never quit. But we knew there was a difference between their ability and that mouth and that gameness compared to what put a real killer on a game dog. That game dog gonna get tested real quick because he gonna have to have something to keep this killer off of him. So we learned a lot by that, and when we made that transition, and they started testing the waters with that shit, they was looking at styles. Remember, we went to a lot, we seen a lot. So you start looking at styles and start learning how this shit is bred and neutralizing, what's the neutralizing factor in a lot of things when you start dealing with the dogs. You can keep looking at a dog, but you ain't looking at what it take to beat that dog. See, everybody back then, if they seen something, they would think about, well, I think based on what they got on your it take a good head dog to beat that dog. We call you getting called out because everybody, we always talk about what it took to win. Chest dog, lead dog, and all that. But when you seeing it for yourself and you become aware and not just kennel blinded, you have to take into effect of that weakness. And that weakness better not be the gameness. You see what I'm saying? We can take all the traits and from the leg dog to the stifle dog to that head dog, but one thing you will not be lacking, and it is that trait of gameness. We put gameness ahead of all things. And people might have thought we was crazy, but we had killers, but trust me, everything got game tested. I wouldn't give a damn. 3, 4 dogs. Mo was one of them that he got to see what you gonna act like when you down. You know what I'm saying? When sometimes it took about 3, 4 dogs. I remember we back in the day now. 2, 3 dogs. Let them get dead tired because you want to see just how game they is. Can you keep up that as time went on? But that was one of them things that we call pressure. So I'm gonna turn this over to Mo, so he gonna get deeper into that whole situation because again, you hear a lot about the papers, but we're always saying the dogs make the papers. But then it's got to be he gonna get into what kind of dog will make you pick up the paper. And then what you do once you pick up that paper and what you really looking to get out that dog. That's why I think, I took my hat off to my brother because he was stuck on, he fell in love with not just killers, but stifle dog type of killers. Pretty Mama was something totally different because she kind of hated her. You know what I mean? Because she wouldn't react. And I don't know if that was a red boy thing. If anybody know anything about them red boy dogs a little bit more than he would probably know it better than I would. But Mama was just a total different dog than Blood and BA and all them. Mama was almost like a male fighting females. Anytime that she got ready, she would just turn it on and just totally destroy you. Now you gotta remember, you see that picture of her, but you gotta, imagine that bitch in peak condition. Big as she was with all that head and all that muscle. She was just a rough ass dog. She's another one that should have been a grand champion. Just couldn't get nobody on. You know, didn't nobody want to mess with her. And you would think everybody would want to jump on her. Because she was slow, but then if you rushed her, your ass would be up out of there fast. You know, so then some of the shows she was in, you know, not too many people wanted to deal with her. So they was, you know, her thing for, you know, people talk about who've seen her talking about, yeah, she's one of them sneaky ones. She a sleeper. You know, the harder you fight her, the faster it's over. So it was just some different things. And then, you know, breeding mama. You, believe it or not, Powder. And Powder went on to produce some good dogs, didn't she? You know, she was off of Pretty Mama. That style, that trait carried on. It was just amazing how what she had carried on through her offspring, which was something else. But like I said, remember how you know which ones to keep and which ones to let get away? Powder was a monster. She was nothing like Pretty Mama to me, but Powder was a beast. But again, he was on the way out of dogs, so he never really got a chance to see what she would do. She was one of the dogs that got sold on his way out. But you ready to take over here, Mo? Hey, man, look, I appreciate everybody showing up tonight. Hey, like I said, big shout out to you, Eli Monster, and your son. Tell him welcome to the family. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't forget to hit that like button. Bus, jumping on the bus. What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. All right, y'all. You know, I'm on this pedigree thing. Really been doing those things my dang self. Occupy some of my time. What I was going back on is the things that Pope talking to me about these dogs, man, and breeding them. I never really understood the papers, and I understood how to get to know the papers. But the interesting part about it was, like you said, get to know the dog. Get to know the dog. Like people you like. I noticed in all our breedings, you know, it always seemed like I had something extra. This didn't take a champion. It took a champion that had, you know, say I see a dog. I done seen this dog 3 times. I know he done made champion. But I want to breed to him, like I wanted to breed to Mayday. But you know what? Before I bred to him, before I bred to Mayday, the first thing I did was to find out how Mayday was bred. And before I left Connecticut, I had Mayday's pedigree. The funny thing about it, he was off of yellow. That was the funny thing about it. He was off of yellow. In the bottom side, understanding the papers being I had Little Buck. You know what I'm saying? It was even better because when I seen the way he was connecting to Little Buck, because that little tater line was all up in that Hollandworth stuff. And I just thought it would be the perfect fit to Brat. Knowing what I knew coming from Puerto Rico and my encounter with the Stone City Dogs and my matching the Tommy with Red Ace. Because even though Red Ace did what she did, I knew what I saw, one thing I did see, I stick to that because it was the major factor. She had a trait that was so bad. I watched this dog, not even trying to fight, going in and destroy a 4-time winner from one of the coldest backstab dogs you ever wanted to see. And very deadly with it because she had a mouth. Pick that trait up from Ace, and let's say we follow it. But just think, it was seeing Mayday, wanting to breed the Mayday based on what I saw. But before I bred to him, I had to see how he was bred. Now, that take me back to, let's go way back in the Search of Jeff and then when they was literally building these bulldogs. It was literally building them back then. And there was always that question. You know, we way back then in the 1917s and 18s and you wondering, okay, they get Dibo, but where they say Dibo come from? Black guy. Dibo came from a black guy. But look how Dibo was bred. Okay? Look how he was bred. But my question was, what made Tudor go see that guy who had Dibo? What was it that he saw in Dibo? And you know, Arizona Pete was Dibo's brother. And you know, we know, I'll get into it. One of these days when I show you how back then how they was shuffling. It was like they really wasn't on the pedigree until they understood the dog. I mean, it was always the dog that actually drew them to like the Lightner. When he got rid of those dogs, you know, there was a major fact that there was Wallace and them guys started looking for those dogs. Locating dogs, tapping into those dogs. But the way they was finding them, the places they were going, made them more excited about having it because they were seeing the dogs. They wasn't chasing the pedigree, they was chasing the dogs. And the dogs was getting a name based on the activity. Even Earl Tudor was matching them Lightner, family old red those dogs. Well, they call them old family dogs back then. But they all had a little group in there, you know, all the way down to that Pansy. Kobe goes around and tells everybody, I ain't have nothing to do with ain't none of my Kobe dogs. Got anything to do with the old family. Well, I would have to differ unless he did the Earl Tudor move. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they wasn't Kobe dogs. Maybe it was those dogs those brothers had over there. I mean, he's admitting something that is clearly not a fact because Pansy came from Kobe. And even worse than that, if you go look up Pansy, you're going to notice that Pansy has another name. They tried to he got Pansy off the Kobe name. Pansy became another name. But the key to the old family was her. Now, what made her so good? I don't think it was what made her so good. I think it was the fact of where she came from. like Daibo. You know what I'm saying? And Daibo won too, if y'all didn't know. So my hand is like, did he win for Earl? Or is that the reason Earl went and saw him? You know, I don't think they was chasing Pedigree. And the thing about it, the Jimp dog, or Hubbard's Jimp, he had another name. So Mr. Hubbard got a hold of him. You know, he was two Jimps, but it was the same dog. And it's the way they communicated by every one of these guys was matching dogs. They was chasing dogs, and how do you chase a dog? You're not chasing a yard, you're chasing a dog. You're gonna be seeing these dogs in matches. They wasn't going to different places, so they were all matching dogs. And they had a reputation. Some dogs, you know, the Lightner dogs had picked up a reputation. The dark Lightner dogs picked up a reputation. You know, and everybody was getting their grip on something that actually channeled out, just like we did the Red Boy. Red Boy just channeled out into other lines in itself. It was the same thing that they was doing with Daibo. Based on everything that built up to Daibo, my question is, you know where you got Daibo from? So one like Earl Tudor was sitting up there with Daibo from the beginning and understanding how he was bred. Okay? Once you got the dog, you know, what made you notice the dog, go after the dog, and then still understand the way that dog was bred to do one of the coldest things in the pit bull game, one of the smartest. Now, all of them had a piece of the game, built the game the way it was. But I think that's why we give so much praise to Earl Tudor. Even those other ones out there now. Few of them out there to talk about. But in essence of him, you know, a lot of the ways they follow the breeding with Daibo down the line, they all had that same perception, understanding. They were trying to match their dogs. I don't know whether these, because it was a constant, like back in the day, you know, you can get off a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, y'all hot. I'm 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. You doing something. And back then, there was a circle around the country, being it wasn't illegal, that a lot of dogs were being matched. There wasn't nothing like, you know, today. It got to be something different today, because it would really be hard for us to be sitting around here with a 9-time or 15-time or 16-time winner. I mean, you know, these dogs must have wasn't getting breaks. And if you're doing them so much, everybody always think they got something to take a shot at something. You know? And if the competition is there, even back then, even back in our time, people be thinking money chases people away. If you're dealing with some real bulldogs, believe me, man, you're going to get your shit off. A lot of new guys that get those opportunities, even like me, when I went out there and went after Tommy, you know, and went after Ohio Cash in my coming up, you know? Shoot, I mean, I went after them in Jethro, not knowing these are dog meat. And they matching dogs. That was my way in. And I learned so much watching as I went to all these other camps and seeing all these matches. I'm telling you, it was the matches, guys. I know you got guys who got these dogs at home. You know, I'm not talking about your time. Do I need to clarify that we are going to get on the bus? going back out there at all time. If we got anybody out there, go ahead and kick out that disclaimer. Go ahead and kick up that disclaimer. So when we go dive back in here, I want to get a little bit more integrated into the match, the dogs. So let's get on the bus. Yeah, bring a dog with you. You might want to game test this shit. Make you feel like you're doing something. Bring one of the best ones. This is gonna guide you through where, you know, back in this time here. And I'm going back even further and explain to you guys how it was built and why it got so good. Because it definitely got good. Because we don't have no 14, 15, not on the average 12-time winners. You know? I mean, we could honestly say Tornado had 10 recorded matches. Queen of Heart had 8 recorded matches. Robert T had 9 recorded matches. Back then, if you was good, you probably was like, I've seen some of them say 121. 21 matches. Okay? Now, we ain't got, you know, that's Michael Jordan shit. You know, you may not never touch that. Because I honestly believe, you know, when there was no illegal shit on this, that I think they were matching a lot of dogs. There's a lot of dog men that you know, don't make the book. Like, you know, even like in my case, these videos gonna always be around, and I hope people learn to appreciate the things that I'm putting out, because further ahead, it's gonna disappear. There's gonna always be a place where you can go back. That's what I'm trying to sit here and lead. And I'm gonna tell you, if you think about it, there's a lot of guys who actually be matching their dogs. They putting them dogs down and be known, like, you know, with known kennels, you know, good friends. You always got a great kennel who's got a friend. You know what I'm saying? You don't know much about him, but he be talking about him like he a badass. And me, you know, he's the badass. But anytime you hear a great kennel talking about somebody and they be knowing them, this is what was going on back then in the days when Earl and Maurice and all them guys, old Family Reds, was doing their thing, and old Leitner, and the way they was doing the dogs. This was like a community of a bunch of these dudes, but there's no way in the world you're going to say, you know, did the black guys have their own matches? I mean, for real. What about the boys over there that Kobe went over and grabbed his dog? Polly Pants was one of them. It just so happened to be the eyeball was red, coming from a brother. You got them brothers over there. I forgot their names, or somebody knew their names. But it was good information we put out there, because it makes you think. It makes you think. Is that one of the reasons early in the game, you know, when those lightning dogs got out there, that he denied that he had any of those dogs come off his yard, that none of that blood at all? But in beginnings, it was called Kobe's Pantsy. So even with that, them dogs were special. There was something to those dogs for it to be even relevant to talk about. Yeah. Oh yeah, Jack Johnson. I mean, all stars, you know, come on, look at the love that DMX was doing. DMX was out there buying dogs. Michael Vick was out there buying dogs. Snoop was buying dogs. But it was like, if you doing a lot of dogs, and these dudes was traveling, they be talking about dude way over here in Oklahoma, you know, and he living in Oklahoma, but they met somewhere, you know, they went into each other, stuff like that. They had a lot of that going on. Probably a lot of, really, than what we thought we was doing in the 90s and was getting away with some shit. Because I'm telling you, no way in the world Tornado can become a 10-time winner unless you have somebody going into her. And back then, that's what they was doing. It wasn't nothing to lose either. This dog could probably lose 2 or 3, but he won 12. Yeah, they had those kind of dogs. And then the other question is, who's conditioning these dogs? Because my question to that is, for these dogs to have gotten the historical value of what we get when we hear about them. Yeah, you know, I'm getting beyond the dog and looking at the people that's handling the creation of what became a bunch of great dogs, and put myself down in there right in that time. This is how I am. No, we competitive. So just imagine if I got a badass dog. Would they take it or would they buy it? Did he take the dog from the dude or did he buy it? Them brothers over there with all them great dogs when Kobe went over there and hit the yard. Did he take it or did he pay for it? I mean, really. Because those are little pieces in a puzzle that, you know, you go to look back in history, you know, and even now, it probably become more understanding. I'm using the same verses of what they was doing. And I can sit back and say, I even experienced the same thing I'm talking about with Tornado, with Cheryl Powell. You know, where did he get them good lightning dogs? Because James and Atlas and did none of them have them. The Hetry dogs, yeah. You know, that was the thing. I didn't even know. I never met him, but he had them, and it was that thing right there with his transfers from the Carolinas up to PA. And then you got them going into guys who's matching dogs. The Tornado was bred with a bunch of matched dogs. And that's what worked good for me. And that's what I was saying when I went back and was wondering how the whole thing with Jim and the whole makeup of how they were doing the dogs before Dabo even jumped into this picture. The line itself, you know, there was Family Reds coming from Ireland, then you had other dogs coming from other places as well. The key was they was matching them. That was the only thing that could be talked about because they all seemed to be with dogs. And they was all on that path of creating consistent dogs to them to maintain, I guess, that hunt attitude to match dogs. Now, I don't know what kind of conditioning regimen they had to match as many dogs as Floyd Boudreaux have done out throughout the years, and a lot of other camps. But, you know, a lot of us camps, even including myself, you know, I would honestly say if I was living back in their time and I was able to have the opportunity, you know, to be literally equal to being in their time, I would be very competitive. But the trick to it was they were making connections, guys, and they was taking these badass dogs and they was putting them together. But the thing was, it was the way they was putting them together after noticing the dog, before they made these moves, they had to be looking at the pedigree. seen the dog, like the dog, before I breed to the dog, I want to see his pedigree. Because some of these breedings that they was making was formula made up like a mug, and these was on two different sides, yet they was, you know, clearly seeing these dogs to be reaching out, trying to make those kind of contacts for those type of breedings to be made. I mean, they was in sections, you had Oklahoma sections, that there was just dogs out there that, you know, certain dog men, you know, at some point they came together with these dogs, and when you look at what they was breeding, oh, there was definitely, the only factor to that happening is they was matching those dogs. That's it. I'm gonna say this. I like a dog in the box, but I would still like to know how the dog in the box is, because I still like the dog. So I want to look at what he's bred like to understand why is he like that. And is he coming from a line of dogs that, hey, this dog could have picked up that genetic from the daddy or the mama? Investigate, because if they passing shit down like that, I got opportunity, maybe a possibility to hit it. Get that shot. And a lot of them was doing it back then. I mean, they had to be reading those papers, guys. I mean, I'm going to go back here and just go show you something. Because our last show, we was doing that shit with those pedigrees and the way those dogs is being bred, and then we was talking about the motivation of what was making shit happen, and got kind of outside of the fact the most important thing that was really going down that really made a lot of that stuff happen back then is they were doing a lot of matches. They was having conventions. They was having shows. They was having that gentleman's bring your dog. And you know it's a thing when they would gather up and meet in certain states. And in that bundle of all that matching dogs and meeting up here, going there, because they all moved around. They were able to make connections and make breedings, man, that they built the foundation of the dogs that we took to another level. I honestly believe the 90s, the dogs got better. I mean, and because I say that is because they matched more dogs in the 90s. They matched just as many dogs in the 90s as back in the day down near that they would probably do in 6 months. But that's a lot of dogs when you got these guys back then having weekend conventions that included Sunday. So they betting Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. People coming in all the time. But then in the end, making the connections to making some serious, real good breedings that really made sense to me. And I look at that and say, how can you ever forget the past? Because the lead up, the whole formula and building of the yard came from a bunch of guys that matched dogs. And maybe some of them wanted gamers, maybe down the line, some of them may wanted this pure mouth, don't need to ever be tested in the game just because I'm biting hard enough to kill your ass. I'm getting lucky tonight. Some of these dogs are so damn rough, like Tooters Blackjack. You know, these dogs are so damn rough that, you know, they could do that. They didn't have the gameness, because if they did, it just wasn't tested. because they were very athletic, rough-ass dogs. And again, I look at these guys and be wondering, do they put their dogs through the same regimen? Cause I'm pretty sure back then they didn't have electric. Okay? I mean, for real. Looking at some of them, and they only look like they could go 2 miles walking a dog. So have you ever wondered how did they condition their dog? Don Mayfield, you know, he gives up a good keep. You know, James Crenshaw, he give up a good keep. Only thing about that, you know, James ain't had no good legs. So when he say 10 miles walking, come on. You know, kind of makes you think, you know, good thing it's a book and it's fictional. Because literally, who's walking at 10 miles? That's a long time for a man barely can walk good to do 10 miles.
Remember Mr. Robinson, first cat meal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that turntable. Yeah, that turntable. That was something new to me. You know, that turntable, that was another piece of equipment. I saw a dog run on it, and he showed us how a dog run on it. That was pretty slick. Dog don't go nowhere. It just be right now one little area, almost like an electric mill to me. It just don't have a motor. But yeah, I'm gonna go back here and tell you how they was matching these dogs to the point that it made me think, even back in our time, you know what I'm saying, when things got crunk and good dogs was being bred. I mean, in really new lines. I mean, part of the old thing, but there was actually new crosses producing new lines like they was doing back then. And it really set the game up at a higher level. And then y'all got the imports of some of these great dogs that got exported, and now they're getting imported back in. With Dog Man, it did pretty good with the shit that they bought and took out there. Now, remember, I just talking about old Gimp, you know, and I got off of him last, but I wanted to get back on him because this dog, when I told you they was matching dogs, and the dogs that they was matching, they were running into each other, seeing each other. Like old Shipley, Tudor breeding old Shipley's Red Jerry. This kind of shit. You know, Shipley had some of that old family shit. Yeah. You find Shipley, you're going to see a whole lot of old family shit. Same thing with that top part. But if you notice, even on the top part, old Bruce, he's sitting up there feeling his pilot, and then you got Billy's Jill. If you notice, remember old Lady Lou had to know Earl and had to know Earl had this dog. You see what I'm saying? Because the show went from Lady Lou to old Bruce's Jerry. These are the connections that I'm talking about. And these guys were matching their dogs. Every one of these dog men are dog fighters. There's not a damn breeder in there. And that little circle, that's a little circle right in itself. Because look how that shit is being put together. like I said, there's a formula, and there's no way, if I'm liking the dog, this is the only connection. You got to be, the only connection that they are bringing themselves together is these damn conventions that they were having back then. It's almost like a circle when it's underground. And we were out there doing this shit underground, and the connections that we had to make the breedings that you guys ride on today. If it don't be for us and our connection in the box, you know, you really can't just put it all on the journal. You know, the journal did a lot. But the matchups, a lot of guys was, you know, we traveled. And these guys back then, they was traveling. Look, we was talking about Blackjack right there at the bottom. 9-time winner. And that's junior. Keep in mind, y'all, this is before Dabo. Yeah. Kamazinski. He's old school dog, man. Every single damn one of these guys was matching dogs. My thing is, after the dog, there had to be some communication to make those connections, to make these breedings that we're looking at. Major factors in the breeding. Maybe they didn't have no books back then as far as recording shit, not that I could tell you about, but I tell you about the people in these pedigrees. They were matching a lot of dogs. And there is a formula here. You build, even back then, they was building from the box. You see the dog? How would you know to match that dog up after seeing the dog? What would lead these great dog men into making these crosses? Knowing that we come to the, you know, the fact that they were all dog fighters. It wasn't against the law. They were throwing big conventions, you know, all the time. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, going all over the country, hanging out with each other, making connections. I mean, they be hunting. When they say, hey, look, you know, they met up with this guy at this location, but they're in two separate places. 90% of the time that when they was meeting up, at some convention. And all of them, you know, became, you know, that inner circle far as the breedings that were made. Now, I look at it as it moved down. I know in the 80s, when I was in the 80s, actually getting in around 81, I would literally say I was in, moving around. But not like, you know, I hadn't hit the north yet. But what I was seeing in the South, being around James and moving around, getting to know Tony and Harry and these guys and these dogs, I actually seen the same thing. The same thing when I had no idea about the dogs that I was given. Paper didn't even matter. But I had papers. Because I couldn't read and understand what they said any damn way. You know, I don't know Molly B. I didn't know Snooty. You know, I seen Snooty's gravestone, so I knew it must have been something important about Snooty. You know, because we got a couple of dogs that had Snooty in them. Down there, all of them had Snooty. You know, and it was like, once I learned what I had after meeting up with Pope and doing me, I'm learning. So I'm real keen on wanting to know. And what I noticed, again, what I noticed was that they all were still doing what this guy was doing. And those guys that created him. I think this dog had another name prior to that. I think I might be correct because I think old dude. That would have been. I think that might have been him right there. That was him prior. So I knew he had another name. If he had another name. They said she was a good one. I'm sorry, I called him she. I'm sorry. But yeah, they say he was a good one. And again, I'm looking at this. When you look at it, you see what I'm saying? They did the old sure power move. Still. Like that fighting Peter dog. He was old family dog. But if you notice, we're still talking about guys like this guy, like Bruce, like old Bruce. These were all dog fighters, people. They weren't like these was like sitting back, making phone calls and had a book to read from or internet to play with. Their internet information was coming from the matches. And from those matches, they went back to, well, how is the dog bred? And some of these breedings stood out more because they was built and they were created all based upon guys matching dogs. My thing is, these twos was litter mates. And Dabo, I said he won two. Maybe, okay, they got him in here as a 3-time winner. Keep in mind, These was all litter mates. Okay. Remember, Tudor went and he bought Dibo. Well, did he buy him or take him? I don't know. They said he got Dibo. And Dibo and matched Dibo. And they all was matching dogs. Now, my question would be, how did the brother end up with Dibo? And then we have to understand that Arizona Pete was a phenomenal dog too. How'd the brother end up with Dibo, and then you got Arizona Pete, who's just as good, if not better. But they say he was such a match dog. But he didn't get, the breedings like Dibo was getting. And reason I'm looking at him, I'm saying, when they're doing that, and I'm looking at the breedings of back then, knowing that these guys was matching dogs, knowing you see Dibo was a match dog, they were continuously finding these blocks. Blocks that you could only get through communication through the box. See that? Y'all see that back down there on the back? Jim, Lena. And that's Bambi. Dibo's mama. Now imagine this, y'all. You see all these crosses. You know what all this is. We know what all this is. It's here. Keep going back. It's gonna be back here. They was doing this, guys, from the pit. No journal. No internet. You know, what number you just gonna pick up and call out? These guys was making moves, passing dogs, getting breedings in the box. They held their winners. And that's the reason why they kept good paperwork back then. Even if they were shuffling a couple around, most of them was private. And it really wasn't. And they couldn't, some of them couldn't stand each other, but they still, for the good of the game, they still was making breedings and passing pups. You don't like them, each other, but they were still making breedings and passing pups. In these very same little circles here. And you always see me go directly to where y'all look at the big picture and don't look at the intricate part of the big picture. Could never be created by itself. Get into the intricate part of it. Look at the dog right there, and you know why you're gonna find that dog in a lot of great match dogs, because these guys was breeding match dogs. Maybe they kept good paperwork to keep up with each other, but this dude turned to this dude, to turn to this dude, that ended up with this dude. And the whole time, You ask yourself if you're trying to raise one and get one like this dog here. These dogs was found and calculated through basic breeding of what these guys are seeing in the box. Then asking the question, when they want to go. You're going to ask the question. Because what made that shit click? And they kept on making sure these two guys, hopefully they liked each other. Hansel and Hansel. Hubbard and Hansel. Because that's a hell of a good breeding right there. You don't, it's like you say, if you don't know a person, like we don't know none of these guys right in this area here, but the fact is, dudes played a major part. See they breeding? They had to really know each other, y'all. Those are generations worth of moves. Without a journal, without the internet. The only thing they was going by was the convention. Probably the conversations of why they sitting around. And they know they pedigree is like the top of their head to the back of their neck. And those who's sitting around listening, trying to get the opportunity, like old Brown and Lawrence. Where you're able to get the dogs and make these breedings because they're all calculated breeding. And I'm going over this to say this. It even got even bigger when we did get to be able to put our dogs on the internet, and they didn't have boards and chat rooms and all that, but we had the ability to make websites. There was kennel websites all over the damn world on the internet. And the connection and the breedings, even those that ended up being exported out, now being imported back in. When you got them coming back in like that, guys, you got something going on. It's because of the way your breeding program is. And it's 9 times out of 10, it's being created out the box. I just want to go way back there to show y'all what we be looking for even today. Yet we look for today, and do we look for it in the box? In my time, I can say, yeah, it was looked for in the box. I know I looked for and found what I was looking for in the box. My partner, one that made those great breedings like Ace in them, he was living in the box. And he was looking for genetics that's going to work for him. Most of us, we want to work from the box. The downstairs basement from long ago, it operated out of the box. I'm telling you, some of your best breedings came up out of the box. When I took y'all into that journal, remember when we did the journal thing with the 1972 to 83? Did you notice the baddest dude in that book? Did y'all notice the baddest dude in that book? The one that had more champions and ROMs in the book. Andre Giroux. The Canadian. Yeah, the Canadian. The Canadian had more champions and more registered mares within that book more than any other American dog. Even amongst the great ones, he was the man. His level of dogs, his breeding of dogs. Hold on, guys. Let me see something. I'm seeing here. If I can pull that up. Yeah, I gotta see this. But yeah, he had the most in there, and it was his breeding program. The man had a bad breeding program, and you could just look in his dogs. You know, we just went to glance and through them, but we had actually been watching. And he was in good matches, but these were all dogs that were being matched. And that was the thing I was, and I looked into him, and said, okay, what made his shit so good? You know what I mean? Yeah, I went there and went to looking in. And hmm, I noticed that, I seen the same as, things that he was doing with his dogs. And I noticed a lot of guys in the United States, caught on to what he was doing because he was a main factor in the game too. I'm trying to pull this up here so I just wanted to show y'all. Okay, guys, I went to I'm going through here right quick, trying to get to the bottom of it. See, these was guys, now they recording matches, and look at all the great names. History being made, matches going down. Prior to that, they didn't have this. But look how they was breeding still, because they was doing it, guys, from the box. They was doing it from the box. They was doing rolls. They was doing something, but it had a lot to do with dog fighting. You're just not gonna. It's not gonna come no other way. You see that's Gunner. Yeah, I'm going to investigate. See if I can pull his pedigree up so we can go dive in. Because we know he matches dog. This ain't pairs online though. See that? OBN, Gunner Jr., known offspring. Look at the dogs in his pedigree. Or they want to do me like their pets on mine, huh? See if I can get them pets. See what you get when you're getting it, and I'm telling y'all, you're getting the shit out the box. The man has more matches in that book than everybody in there. He had more winners in that book. He was matching dogs. Now, if y'all take the same concept that I've been talking about, instead of just looking at the pedigree, let's start stepping into the minds and the bodies of these guys like we do when we get on the bus. Kind of put this little thing together and just think. And every move is a calculated move because it takes the effort to make something happen. Like this guy right here. You know, these dudes was getting these dogs out the box. And again, see where we're going? Back down here again. See it? These moves that I'm pointing out. See, we didn't see these. See what I'm saying? The winningest dude in the book, and look where we at. Look what we're looking at. Takes us right back to where we started at. That's how good that shit was. That's how good it is when you doing it out the box. These dudes are doing this out the box. And there's a chemistry, a formula to a bunch of dog fighters. They regardless of one thing for sure, they knew how to come together, and the only way to come together is you doing it from the box. I'm just telling you, back then when it was legal, these breedings that we're looking at are very great breedings. And it's the way they, the communication that these guys had to be doing You know what I'm saying? You had to be, you know, it's all basement now. I would have to say this was like the shit that I saw in the basement in the 90s and why these dogs was becoming the dogs that they were. I mean, there was a lot of good kennels out there that was doing the same thing. You know, like I said, a lot of good kennels out there making champions all over the place and had these kind of good dogs. But guess what? Ain't a pedigree on a one of them is doing this right here that was doing it without being inside the box. It's a point that when I say this when it comes to breeding and how the dogs were, how they began to evolve. The matches got better because the dogs were starting to get better. And as they were getting better, you know, by the time the 90s came, you know, we was all in a whole new ballpark. Because these dogs started making, you know, they started selling their pups. And we already know this bottom shit. Let me go check out Pat on the bottom right quick so y'all can see the same shit we've been looking at all night, right? Look how he bred. He got some bully sign Arch Missy in him. Oh, Bonnie. You see what I'm saying, fellas? You see what I'm saying? These dudes was doing it and they was catching it out the box. And they probably taking them puppies, moving around, passing them around, trading. But they wasn't just throwing match dogs together. These dudes got a hold of this shit and saw something and they rolled with it. Basically, what I would say that I seen most big kennels that they were able to do this kind of stuff right here. Even I learned how to do it. But it was all based on what we saw and did in the box. And that's a real high point that I will continue to make as far as what made the 90s so great. And why today those very same dogs that was doing all that in the 90s, even the ones that got him, you know, exported out, are starting to come back in, and they're coming back in really solidifying that they gave a lot of help to some shit that was probably looking like it was dying off. Not as the greatest of the greatest, because the best of it out here that I remember back then towards my leaving was the dogs that were coming back in was crossing well. They was crossing well. And the dogs that was coming back, they had producing power. I mean, there's a lot of pedigrees out there, got that Freedom Kennels and a lot of international good dogs, kennels, and every single one of them back then were dog fighters. gonna buy a pup back then or make a breed back then, you could see it took more than just liking the dog. It took more than just liking the dog. It took just that and liking the dog and then asking that question. And a lot of them, they had an idea of, like, you know, who's who, because they was doing this basically at will because it was legal. I mean, a lot of these breedings, man, are just magnificent breedings to me. When I study them, and I study them to the point where, you know, like when you go and you take your dog and you be studying, you be looking, you be, you know, it's a real serious thing when you want to breed your bitch, or it's a real serious thing when you want to breed your male. Now, just kind of take that attitude and think about what we talking about right now. Put yourself in the shoes of these guys. Just put yourself in the shoe and just start back somewhere and say, this was you, and then watch you build your history. Every one of these dogs there was a formula and a put together to this shit. And I just think this is just some damn good breeding. It's damn good breeding. But the names. The names. They doing it. They doing it. See this shit? Look. You know what I mean? We know all that. I mean, people knew the bully son was bred to R. Smith. I didn't. They got some siblings. Got a bunch of them. They, okay, that Ramsey's Artie. Catherine Artie, okay. R. Smithy, that boomerang R. Smithy stuff, huh? Okay. I forgot about Little Posse Buster. It's evident that it produced, not maybe at the functionality, but some good dogs came out to breeding. Because these dogs you will find in great dogs that y'all got in y'all pedigree to this day. And the way y'all would think that your breeding programs is really, I'm not here in the future. I'm only here in the past. You know, I'm just part of the, you know, the past, just taking the past further back beyond me and coming back up to show, you know, how this game evolved like they were doing. And it was really doing it in the pit. That's what the great thing about it was. You know, it was not too many, you know, I had to say there was great breeders out there, but the best breeders was the guys out there breeding to match their dog. That's just being honest. And I think that plays a big part into don't be for the breeder to start it off the party, because even in that right there, you got a breeder. Most breeders back then, they was putting those dogs out, you know, and anybody, you know, they wasn't like moving those dogs. That's why so many of them, those breedings, you see that new name. Now just imagine the new name. Y'all know the normal names, but look at the nobodies, the ones you call. we call those nobodies, okay? But they definitely somebodies because they're part of a project that created something great. You can't never overlook them now. You might have all the big names, but those names you don't know about, you can't tell me they nobodies. Like you can't tell me that breeding that Paul got in that tornado, bitch, it's the nobody. A lot of people probably never knew what that was. Who made that breeding. Same with James Pope. You know, but I can tell you this. These guys were dog fighters. That is a big point that I want to make because I'm showing you, even back then, the shit that was being created, even when it came down to the family reds, the dogs picked up their notoriety by the box. That's what I'm talking about. And the communication of getting those things done, you meet people. You know what I mean? You meet these people, get to communicating. You know, every time I used to see somebody who was breeding their dog like mine, like me in competition, Kennels, you know, I saw his dog, his champion dog, and it really attracted me to him because he was breeding like I wanted to breed. And that's the same old dog, Champion Romeo. That's him following my lead after I followed his lead with the Apache bitch. We don't talk about these dogs much. That was a bad boy there too. Look at him. Dog fighters. Crystal to go to Buck, you already know. You already know. It's the thing. Everybody, they talk that shit about the hollow work dog. I can't really say what a hollow work dog is compared to a buck dog. Being a lot of it has a Patrick Taylor cross, either by way of the sister. Remember his sisters. That line, we tend to not give it its true just. But it's what goes on behind that line. You know, we've been through this. I showed y'all these things, but he's just another dog. Because we know we went over this back here at the other show where those points were made. All the way back to where we can go instead of saying, remember guys, this is what I keep talking about. You know and I know, when I say this, I'm pointing at and continuously pushing match dog. Creating match dogs. Guys who's matching dogs. I seen Ram lose to him. I'm gonna keep bringing that shit up. See all that producing shit, y'all? Look, they bred him a lot. Excuse me. Excuse me, guy. Yeah, but wrong throat. I don't know if they bred him a lot, but he sure produced something. There's boy there, Candy. They got a STP running. That's Crystal's litter mates. Bet you that was a rough ass dog, y'all. But look at it say, a bull's bred dog, a flat out killer. Match dog. You know, that's the point of results. I stay back here in the back in our time to give you prime examples of what you can take home on your time. Yeah, because your time is different than my time. But I'm just showing you that since the beginning of the time, a lot of there was no such thing as to me, breeders. You know, they bred dogs like Carver ended up breeding dogs, but they was matching dogs long before they turned into breeders. And what they were trying to create was the ultimate match dog, even if the crosses that they were making, it was just, if you notice, it's like these guys knew where these dogs were to make these moves that they were making. But even in my case, you know, I knew where I wanted to go breed. I knew where I needed to go to do that, especially if I saw the dog that I wanted to do it with. So even in my case, when you look at, you know, what we did in the dogs, it was worth talking about, and what all the other guys after us did with the dogs that even worth talking about, you're going to see the very same pattern that these pedigrees I'm showing you. In the combination, I can tell you, the only reason these guys is worth us even talking about because they were creating winners. And they were taking the same old kind of blood. So happened to be some growing hard blood, and they were doing the same thing that I'm sitting here showing y'all. When you got something that you can do that with, And see, I have something that I can do that with because of the people after me. Where I can tell you, based on what I've seen, I followed the directions that I noticed everybody else was doing. Dogfight. That was the first direction. Can't see shit if you ain't doing that. Because the real great dogs was being dogs that were being bred to keep these dudes active. That's the only reason I got in the breed. Because I seen something and I kept taking that formula, and I am that person that had that motivation to go out there and breed to that dog. And whatever dog it was that I bred to, and come back and created something that was worth talking about, enough to even put down in the history books, then I understand that I was paying attention because I was a dog fighter. And my mentality of thinking was to win in the competition of winning. In my time, with dogs like Queen and Pandy and Hardcore and Stone City, these was hard kennels to whoop. Mad, DSK. Yeah, not just this, they just a few. That's just a few. Showed you the champion book. They all had a certain pattern in their breeding. I would have to honestly say 90% of the dogs that we look in those champion books, we can go back in there if you think I'm lying. If you can't agree with me, tell me and we'll do it. We'll do a poll and let's see how many people believe that. But it's definitely a fact to me that I would give it high as 90% of the champions. We can go and pull their pedigree up along with their match record. It's not the fact that it's in the journal, because everybody don't be in the journal. But guess what? There's enough information in the journal that we carry the majority of the business. We carry the majority of the news. The journal carries the majority of the very dogs that you're trying to have in your pedigree. So you can't ever hate and deny a fact of a journal because you wasn't part of it, you wasn't in it. But I can guarantee you trying to have a dog that was in there. If you ain't got one that's in there, I guarantee it's in your dog's pedigree. The only way we'll know what your shit is, understanding, unless you a dog fighter and got something worth talking about, then we'll put the puzzle together ourselves. If it's not worth talking about, it's a pass on. But if it's worth talking about, we're going to find out how you bred. Even if it takes asking you. And if he's good enough, I'm trying to breed to it anyway. It always, to me, has something to do with the matching of the dog. Always. And it seems to be the key piece on information that I can, put out there and present to the guys who wants to learn how to breed. And we can talk about genetics, but I can tell you the best damn genetic you get out of a damn dog. A dog genetic that you can continue winning with. That you can continue having champions. That you can continue being able to produce the dogs. To keep you busy to have those champions, because I said history's made in the box. Damn all that other shit. Because without it, what y'all talking about? What are you grading on? I'm grading on as a dog fighter back in my time, okay? I already know that. That's where y'all at. Y'all sitting in the seat with me as dog fighters, okay? But back here, understand what I'm saying. It was all related to the fact that it wouldn't be worth nothing without the dog fighters. Guys, we look at these pedigrees and these champions, these dogs are bred. And they're bred good. And they're worth talking about. That's the thing. the most of the great bred good ones is worth talking about, because we can take them dogs and do our own thing and continue making great dogs, because we found the right dog that will produce. And where you find them at 98% of the time is out the box. You know, everybody say they throw a good dog, and he throws some good dogs. He throws some good dogs. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of these pedigrees we see with the great dogs in it come out of dog fighting hands. The very papers that you be ragging on. You know? A lot of them. 98% of them to me. You can't deny this. This is almost a shoe-in of what Ronnie Boyle was doing. Give it to a dog fighter and let's make it great. That is not no backyard breed there, y'all. Ronnie Boyle, he went and said, I'm breeding Lady Undertaker to him. Yeah, he beat Ram. I think he beat Ram for number 3. Might have been 4. Might have been 4. It was a good little match, but yeah, Bumpus was a bad dog. Yeah, bite down, they would definitely bite you down. You see what he was using. Using that bolio. Back down to that Eli. And just another cross that we've seen coming from other areas, other breakups, other lineups. In the long run, they fall back on each other. In some form, way, or manner. They got Undertaker right there. The Dirty Mary. We're gonna have Dirty Mary. Mama down here and up here. Double doddle. Bobby Jr. Just some good bred dogs, man. And every one of these dudes that I'm talking about produce great dogs. That was just a grab. That was just a grab because we hardly ever talk about strictly business. You know? That's another dog that I remember how many grand champions did Buck have? I know him and Yellow Buck was definitely 2 that I know. So far, I see 2, right? Yellow Buck and they go Buster Brown. Oh, they go Bigfoot. Look at that breed, you know. She must have been a bad bitch for him to make that move. Look, coming off of ROM. Crossing buck into that. No wonder. See, this another avenue, another angle. Bumping into the same shit we've been bumping into all night, right? There's certain things, and you know the familiar thing about it, that's a dog fighter right there. Yes, sir. Look at the jip that he got. Okay. At a champion. But this is the point I'm making again. Great dogs being produced like that's a nobody. You know he had to be somebody to get his hands on some of this. Same here. He's drawing the puzzle. There they go, right there and there. These are nobodies, but they are engraved in history. And you can best believe they were dog fighters. I always say that. How can a nobody get away if you don't know him? That's the only way you can stay away. These guys right here, unfamiliar names that we don't pick up the book and see, feel, we can say Havana Boy so quickly and easy. Irish Tom and STP. But see, these would be those nobodies that everybody be talking about, that they think he's a nobody. And then I already proved that most of these breeders were dog fighters. So if I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt, he might not have no champions, but the mentality of what he was thinking and what he was doing to come up with some of these puzzles that we see, it became great results. Usually with people we don't have no idea of, they're dog fighters. I always get the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, there's no way you can be not known. There's no way you can be not known. You had that blood right there, and somebody asked you got some Stewart. Did your dog have that Stewart shit in it? Or some of that little George? It would take a person who would know this dog right here. Lines. Of different kind. We see these lines all the time. Same lines. Same type of dogs. Just those crosses, they definitely work. You can't say it's all but when you got a bottom like that. We did this before, showing the Bolio crossed with that Eli stuff with some great shit, and here's just another example. Another good example to me. So when you read your shit, and you're reading it over here in my time. Remember, not in your time, my time. And put yourself in the mentality of a dog fighter looking at this and understanding the results that they're getting, and this is what you're trying to do. Where is the only place you're going to find that and get it to happen? Based on what I'm showing you guys, what I'm trying to get a conclusion on. So when I say that or throw it in a poll, and you were listening, you would understand the answer that's expected if you was here joining this show in this world on the bus and looking at this shit as a dog fighter. I did not show y'all a bunch of breeders. I have not shown y'all a bunch of breeders. And I mean, we can grab them all night. When you have a line that you can just, it's wise for you to have when you keep doing shit like this. We all know the yellow and the bolio work. Ain't that what made that year? Ain't that what yellow buck is? You know? We already know that the Jocko shit go good with the red boy shit. We already know that because of the very same dogs. Yellow buck, mayday, all of them. Anything off of yellow, anything off of buck. You put those two together, the macho buck stuff, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff is built off of that right there. Dog fighters. These are dog fighting dogs. That's all my points. This is my point for tonight. I cannot say that the comparison is the same. When I'm showing you history, giving you a chance to step into those shoes and pay a closer attention instead of laying back and looking at the pedigree. Put yourself down there with Onello's twisted sister gonna breed your shit that's charming the tank on your yard. With the full understanding on a brother-sister breeding. That's like another sheriff pile breeding that brother-sister the shit that led up to a tornado. Bred to the right shit, you get the same results. Why? Because you're dealing with match dogs. You're dealing with dudes that are fighting their dogs. I don't know how good Daisy May was, but there was one damn fact. Somebody didn't get rid of her because he made her all win. I mean, we're seeing so much of the Bolio Eli cross. So many of these dogs we've been going through these last couple shows. And you know, when I first started this show, we were trying to figure out where all the Eli dogs was because maybe, you know, most of the guys thought I was really stuck on the Mayday shit because my dogs were Mayday. Well, to be honest, fellas, I'm going to tell you why those dogs were able to do what they did outside of the fact. Is one, they were being matched. Two is when you look at their pedigree. You see what I'm saying? Only the ones that's relevant do we want to see. What made it do what it was doing? Why is it working? And this is one of those occasions right here. This is what they were doing. They was doing this back there in the 1900s. You know, I mean, y'all it's not a racial thing, but you know, when you hooking up with the brothers, you know, back in the time that, you know, they were still pissy that we was free. You know, it was got to be something special to be able to take and get Diabo, knowing the way they was playing the game, and they're all dog fighters, so they know about Arizona Pete and the other rascal. Now, come on. You know what I'm saying? And the very same shit, like the Search of Jeff shit, and I see so many things that contradicts Mr. Kobe because he didn't change all the names, that you didn't have no old family red dogs in your dogs was in that blood. Well, I mean, I think what he be saying literally is, you know, the same people that was over there with Diabo, I think the same kind of people over there that he went and got those dogs from and probably incorporated them to his yard and built the fame off that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because those dogs, he just didn't go get those dogs and bring them home and kill them. That's for damn sure. We talk about Kobe. He is a historical name in itself. Historical name in itself. Don't want to share that with nobody, whether it happened or not. We know that both those dogs, those great dogs that came out of that area, is connected to, back in that time, how would they have had such a connection unless, you know, would you want to go to a dog fight as a black guy back in those days? Okay, so what made him a 3-time winner if Earl went and bought that dog? Did he buy him or take him? I don't know, but the dog was with a black person. Same thing with Kobe and what he claimed, but the story there that, you know, he went and got a yard full of brothers' dogs. Badass dogs. My thing is, if these are all dog fighters, somebody get me to understand how that was working. You know what I'm saying? These was all dog fighters. So how you get me to understand how that was working? But it had to work because that's exactly what happened. So at some point, he knew about them dogs, the money, and then to know that you look in his pedigrees, you see that he was snooping around. That he knew what he was getting. You know, and again, still considering back in that time where it was really legal. You going over there and pick up a dog over here, you going over there. I mean, black folks had bulldogs. You know, and a lot of them, you know, it's hard to believe back then because, you know, we're on the bus, and even me stepping into that, I'm still trying to figure how Earl came and got Diabo from me. You know what I'm saying? I run a junkyard, and I'm still contemplating. Every time I go into these pedigrees, I fall into Pat Patrick, I fall into people like because they were competitive and they was winning. So I'm trying to mind meld into the activities of how we were able to, and I said we because I followed the formula, and everybody who was able to get dogs through my line and continue to win, I'm going to put the we in there because it can never be me. Because they're part of that history. They just like these dogs I'm putting up right now. I can go back and just show you there's a formula. These was all dog fighters, and the only way this shit is working is these is dog fighters. We ain't stopped by a breeder's house yet. Just a related factor I just wanted to bring y'all up to date on. Well, I just that's my little class as far as, you know, the match dog. It's not all about the role, him passing a game test. It wasn't all about him finding a place out there that he showed to be game as hell. You know what I'm saying? Because those aren't the dogs that we're pointing out. I don't think, you know, y'all missed that point. But those aren't the ones we're pointing out. We're actually pointing out competitors. And competitors that were able to come up with the lines that can compete, not just in your hands, but the line in genetics of itself. That's why it's always wise to pay attention to what's going on around you. It don't always have to be the exact motion if you learn how to get the right direction on shit that you know for a fact that would work. If somebody was to tell me, man, you don't put no Eli with no buck, man, you know how many ways we can toss that right back at you, bro? And you know, you would just kind of want to do a rewind and make sure you edit that part out of your mouth. Because it's proof that I'm giving you. And in that proof, to continue that, even if you ain't got it. When I say you ain't got it, when you got to get back on the bus and go to your time. Now, the information I give you is for historical purposes, you know, and I hope you use it wisely. But just think about it. To make a breeding that you know, it's a 50-50, maybe even an 80-30, 80-20, that, you know, all it takes is one. All it takes is one. One can make a whole litter famous if you're doing it bad enough. But the fact was, the one that did that was a match dog. The match dog. That's the major piece to everything I'm telling you. The dogs that was winning back in our time, and the majorities, even back there in the beginning when we saw the journals, 1972, every one of those dogs, match dogs winners, all had a formula, and it was all related to their purpose, dog fight. And once you learned that, and understood it, and being I was a dog fighter, understood that, and really knew it, it worked for me. It does not just work for me, it works for other people. You know, so my point is I'm a living, you know, replica of what I've been pointing out these guys was doing back then, you know, and it always seemed to work. If you can get into that part right there and really start paying attention to not just putting the names in people, step into those people, because it takes a movement to do that. You gotta know what you're doing when you do that. I want to know what they was doing. What is that connection? And just to think, you know, where's the information? And it has to be the dog first before you go after the information. Like me having my mindset. Fish coming in heat. I went to Beetlejuice. Because I saw Beetlejuice. I mean, I saw Beetlejuice's son on Champion Twisted. And even though he lost, I wanted to breed my red boy bitch to Beetlejuice. Because he was another different side of red boy. Then he had them producing litter. You know, he was part of that winning club. Few of them lost, it's like, you know, in the Jocko line. But these were some badass dogs. And that's why I bred Beetlejuice the champion pretty much. He got some nice ass pups, you know. The funny thing about it, I didn't have no males. I had a female, one female. I had the litter mate to her was up there at the dude that had white socks. What's his name? Black socks. You know what I'm talking about. The Jeep dog, last son of Jeep. Yeah, that's my dude. He's up in Philly. He had a little red and white haired female. That was her name, Whitehead. She was off of that Beetlejuice and Pretty Mama. He loved it dog. Powder, her sister, was a buckskin, like, I mean, almost like, when I say buckskin, like almost like white buckskin with the black mask. But she produced some badass dogs. I mean, you know, everybody got raided, all the dogs got taken. You know, she should have been able to make she was a shoo-in for all women. Because, boy, that bitch could throw some. She threw a nice one in one litter. You know, she threw a real nice one, being bred to Buck Rogers. So, there was some very good dogs. But again, match dog. You know, she wasn't a match dog. But you're either going to fight or you're going to be a cold dog. Both of those bitches were cold. My bitch produced. I don't know if you ever got any puppies because you were trying to breed black and white socks to her. Down there, you know, somebody wasn't having puppies because it could have been her. But, you know, he had the dog and he had black and white socks there. I think that's his name. I know he's the last son of G. And me and him were good friends. His brother used to play for the Eagles. Yeah. His brother was a famous player too. But again, dog fighting. Dog fighting mentality. Well, it's a dog fighting mentality to go after that dog. Why did I go after that dog? Did I hear about him or do I know about him? And if I know about him, I'm going to go see him. Or I'm going to look up on him and see why is he doing what he's doing. And 9 times out of 10, when you look, you're going to find it in that pedigree. I think that's what helped us out a lot, you know, as far as guys. They'll know something about the going hard dogs. Most people who had them would tell you that there's a lot of bitches out there that produce those champions. It was going hard bred bitches that produced those champions. I'm talking about off the yard females in that particular line. They were all known to produce champions. Actually, more females produce champions than the male. As far as breeding wise. The other thing about that part was they were able to, many years, to maintain that deadly back end style. That genetic gene continued on to where it benefited a lot of other people. A lot of other people benefit from that genetic strain right there because they were very rough ass dogs. They get there. When they get there, they're gonna destroy it. We're not talking about, you know, these are normal dogs because they ain't my dogs, but I'm gonna brag on them because they were champions. They were rough ass champions. They finished their people quick, and everybody who had them, who's put their little thing on the pairs or bottom, you're gonna see it all. Everyone I'm gonna tell you about this back end style that they had. So when I see that and I look at that, I'm looking at it like I'm looking at these pedigrees of these old guys back in the old days. And I'm so glad I paid attention and kept focused on knowing the whole thing was trying to produce a competing dog. Not just produce a dog, but produce a winning dog. Because anybody that steps on the other side of you has just as much chance to win as you do. I wouldn't give how confident you are. He wouldn't be there if he was thinking he was going to lose. So you got to let him go. And a lot of history is made like that. And I think, you know, I want to make sure everybody understands that when it comes to the breeding of our time. Because there's a lot that was left behind, even after all the taking and grabbings and raids, and you know, some of these lines have been washed away. The grind is still followed. The rules still stand. You know what I'm saying? Got this, you know, it's like having a nice, good age vodka with water poured in it. You know? Should have kept it down there in the cellar, keep it cool. But those are the things that has carried history through all those years and becoming, you know, even better in the 90s. But the history was already made. It was already made when the guys got off the ship with those dogs. Because they all came with a motivation and mentality about those dogs. Their dogs. So, and they was stuck to that shit like, you know, they came off the ship as dog fighters. And that's a good point to think about. So guys, let's get ready to get on the bus. Let me get on the bus. Let's start heading back. I made it through the show. I have been feeling, I thought I was supposed to go in the hospital today. I wanted to go make some arrangements to make sure, and they couldn't find me on the thing. But I've been feeling like, oh, so I hope y'all can bear with me. I don't know what it is, but I just be, you know, I held it together today, but I can barely see the board. I got new eyes, so it's definitely either I'm tired as hell or I'm going through one of my moments where my body just can't take everything I'm trying to do. So definitely forgive me, but I was so geeked up for the show because it was like it was something that I saw, and I see myself there, and knowing the success that when I say I follow everybody and take no credit, you know what I'm saying? I just thank James Pope. Because if you really want to have some real match dogs, you know, real dog, man, get match dogs. You know, and that's for my time. So I hope y'all enjoy that part. Hope you enjoy it while it's here. Because that's the time you want to take your man and really start really studying that shit and not look at, you might be a Eli man, you might be some, you know, karate man, you could be any one of those. But look closer. Look and see where it's at first. Then look closer. You know, in me looking, I prefer looking for a dog fighter. You know, spending all this money out here, the guys are selling dogs that ain't fighting them. Then, you know, that's the new thing. You know, I can't help y'all with that. That's why I bring y'all back here in my time so y'all can enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? $2,500 a puppy. You know, how you get on my time? $2,500 a puppy. We need to find a box, or I leave. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna show me why this puppy $2,500, or sit me down and convince me that I'm looking at the right shit. Because what drew me, that's the key. What drew me to you. They worked at $2,500, then once I still have to see it, not hear it. At 25, because some of these dogs be bred so good, but it better have a track record. You know, I don't spend $2,500 on it unless it has a track record. Especially if you don't have a record of yourself, then you better show me a record of why I'm here to even consider this shit. Got to be something there. But hey, just know it got to be some production when you guessing. You ain't out there. You need to be guessing. You better make sure that there's some production in your guessing. Don't be out there just breeding to a pretty pedigree and it ain't got shit in it. But you know, it looks good. But the puppies in the yard is getting just watered up with a bunch of trash that you're trying to make happen. Maybe it's just not in that one to do it. You have to be able to recognize it. You know what I'm saying? Again, guys. I love the breedings of great dog men. yeah, man, I think tonight was a good night for us, these books of champions, and I got that other book that's got all the champions in it. I mean, I want to even go exploring on some of those books because again, we're still talking about champions in dogfighting in the past. Might not be able to do it in your time or future in the near being, but always trying to draw you back here so when y'all get off the bus, y'all in that world and relax and just feel it. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't seen it, enjoy it because you're hearing it. And I'm gonna end it with that, man. Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for listening. Shout out to y'all.
All right, y'all know what time it is. We're at that point of the show. I've been slacking here lately. I guess it's cold where y'all at too, huh?
Yeah.
But I need to get them thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Muscles. Muscles.
Muscles.
Now give me some damn roses. Roses.
He need them damn roses. Man, give up the damn roses, man.
Hey, appreciate that $5 chat. You know, anything you gave was appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, I wanted to give another big shout out to my man, Eli Buster. Son of another fucking fresh.
Number 5, baby.
Hey, Eli, get a chance, give me a call, man. I wanted to see how he done. You know, experience. And he going to Capital Gym for combat training.
Oh, yeah, he gonna be one of them killers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. That's the biggest amphibious fighting force in the world, bro. The biggest, baddest fighting force in the world right there. Count the gym. That's where they build. Killers.
Get straight killers.
Straight killers.
That's all you do is whole tour learn how to keep killing.
Yeah, that's all they're going to teach him the whole time he's there. He's going to have 50 ways to kill something. And that ain't no lie. Yeah. They're going to teach you how to kill him with a knife. Anything, you're going to get the mentality to be able to stab him with the thumb. They make you crazy. Oh, my God. That warfare puts you in those situations, man. It's not easy being a soldier. Especially when you got the right to kill.
Sir.
Be that. You start killing, you just that's a real hard thing to get rid of.
Start liking that shit.
You ain't got no choice.
Stop it. Stop it.
I ain't trying to waste no round.
Oh, boy. That damn bullets cost too much. Don't waste shit. Hey, man,
what's the poll, man? Oh, good.
Got frustrated.
Oh, that's right. That had you tied up. Yeah, you hear my throat?
I told you were supposed to be in the doctor in the hospital tonight. You know.
I was. I don't know what happened. They gonna probably.
You just glad they forgot, huh?
Yeah, well, not really, because the man, he went through all hell because he's concerned the doctor to bring that test up as quick as possible. And they sent me the letter. He called me, and then I got the letter, but when I go up there to confirm what was going on, ain't nobody act like they knew, and I sure ain't gonna be self-admitting myself up in that mud. And don't nobody know why I'm self-admitting myself up in here. That's a problem with me. No, until I get some verification on some shit like that, I know I'm not gonna just turn myself into no damn hospital. I don't even know what I'm doing it for. I told me to come there at 8 o'clock today to do it. Y'all can give me a game plan. I ain't doing it.
I ain't doing it.
No,
Hey, man, appreciate everybody for showing up and hanging out. Pretty much how it goes down. You know, appreciate everybody taking that ride back there. 4-hour time. I'm telling you, it gets more intriguing after you get down to, you know, just taking that ride enough, and then you really just understand why you're taking the ride. You know, hopefully everybody be learning something from it. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing, because we definitely going to keep doing what we doing. Why? Tell them all.
Because we always.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
said it. We
always.
always. Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, I am. It's one of them always today.
Yeah.
Yes.
That we
Always.
always. I'm that damn scratch to win. Hey, man. Y'all know what time it is. We'll be back here for
Hot Mic Friday. Man, you know, I came out of the house, came all the way over here without the computer, man.
Yeah,
I had the cord, I had everything, man. I was so disappointed, man, when I looked in the bag, man, the computer wasn't there, man. I'm telling you, man, it's taking over. I'm gonna come on the show, man, and I'm gonna be like, why am I sitting here? Then y'all gonna be the last time y'all see me when I start getting where the hell I'm at.
Yeah, but he made it though.
Got you
That's
to
what
win,
makes.
baby.
That's what matters. Look, we just make it. Just appreciate everybody for showing up.
Yeah.
I ain't got nothing else to say. I'm finna rock it out and we can get out of here.
All I have to say is, for you guys out there that's breeding your animals, you know what I'm saying? And you know, just think about it in my time and just step back and take a good look in my time and just ask yourself, notice, is he correct that all this shit that he's showing me is right? Because I can't find the wrong in it. Because he's showing me all these champions and these dog fighters is doing this. I'm not a dog fighter. No, that's the thing. I'm not trying to call you a dog fighter. I'm not trying to tell you to be a dog fighter, but understand why you doing this and you selling these dogs and making these breedings. Keep in mind, you can always get on the bus. You can always get on the bus. And come on back here and get that feeling. What's up? What's up? Get all that shit and then go make the right decision. Because if you know the formula, you really know what it takes. It don't really take you to do it. It just got to take you to know it. Always. This is my dog of the night right here, y'all. I want to go ahead and just grab Bolio. I just, you know, I think I want Bolio. That's Indian Bolio. Yeah, that's my dog of the night. And y'all look at that stuff. We've been talking about this shit all night. The higher goes, the more of that stuff. You see what I'm saying, man? We've been looking at this stuff all night, y'all. Y'all paying attention.
Show them, let them know. Let them know.
Trying to, baby. Follow that pattern, man. Everyone needs to do the dog fight. Same old dog all night. You know what I'm saying, man? I took him on a ride, man. That ride was on the same bus. I mean, you guys recognize that ride y'all took tonight. Who was really paying attention? Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us on this Tuesday night. Good Talk Tuesday night. I closed down tonight. I can't start all-nighter, so I'm gonna put it out there. Y'all know we'll be back here for Hot Mic Friday. Till then, everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. I'll see you then. Till then, deuces. Peace. I'm out.